tonight. The hour being after 7 on the 17th. Quorum, we'll open up the public meeting for Walpole Planning Board. First item, minutes of August 6th. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Any discussions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay. Next item, we have Bristol Brothers. And we have, from their attorney, it says, as you're aware, we represent Bristol with respect to a pending application for industrial subdivision. And we request that a continuance the public hearing until the scheduled March 4th, 2021 meeting. And additionally, they will give us time to act up to April 4th, 2021. So I'll make a motion to allow the applicant grant up through April 4th, 2021. His request for his extension.
Second.
So we have a second. Any further discussions? All in favor? Aye. And I guess right now, we'll put it on for March 4th, 2021. Don't forget to write that down.
That's 7:15.
I think I'm busy that night.
You want to pick a time, Jack? 7:15?
7:15, yeah, that's fine. Okay, New World. All right, from Dan American Legacy, came in today at 11. I'd like to request a continuance of discussion to your next available meeting for New World. It's my understanding you will have not received comments from the Board of Health, and they will need an extension of this. In addition, he wants to give us an extension up through October 30th, 2020. I'll make a motion for that, to grant the extension up through October 30th.
Second.
Is there a second? Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Just so everybody understands, or probably more at home, is without the Board of Health vote, we can't vote it. So all we do is listen to it, and who knows when that would come, so it might be just... But you still need the Board of Health. Yeah, yeah. So they have to give something, so we figured, just in case. Echo Estates, we went by that tonight.
Jeff, what are you gonna do with,
Dan?
yeah, do you wanna put them on our next available meeting for New World, 38 Peach Street?
Yeah, because that's not a public hearing, so we
No,
can...
but he wanted to go on it to discuss it at our next
Okay,
hearing.
we'll put them at, yeah.
That's on the
Whenever that is.
1st?
Yeah. Okay, from Carl Baldoff, Town Engineer, Echo Estates, we have they're requesting a bond. Is it a bond figure, or this should be a reduction? Correct? Carl?
Mr. Chairman, we looked at it as a second original. I don't believe there was a calculation in the first one, but we don't know, we don't understand that it was not posted.
But did we ever, Kate, do you know if we ever had a bond set?
Yes, this is the one that they set at like 525,000, and the gentleman didn't understand. This was basically one of his,
Yeah, you thought we were gonna finance it for him.
right.
Yeah.
So he just kind of walked away, and it never got anywhere. It just went away.
Okay, so now we're kind of in that same situation we were before with the other one.
So it's up to the board. If you consider this with the original one having been voted and whatnot, then this would be a reduction,
Yeah,
a first reduction.
yeah, a reduction to,
Or it's,
you're saying 100, so if he went from 500, he's down to 183.
184 is what we suggested.
Okay. 184 left to do, Carl, right?
Yes.
Okay.
184 left to do.
All right, and as, I don't know how much our rules you've read, but we still, when they come in for more, if they hit 3, then they gotta start paying. Because that was, I call it the Maggie rule, because guys would put one piece of curb in and come, I want a bond reduction. It was like a weekly thing they wanted. Every time they did something, they wanted this, and we had to put a stop to it, so they'd have to do it, so. I'll make a motion to reduce the bond figure to 184,000 on Echo Estates. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
You don't got anything here for the grass cutting, Carl? I went by tonight, all nice weeds. You can't see that street anymore once that weeds grow up. At least coming up from Rentham. Okay, Lost Brook. Ooh, all right. Was he gonna come tonight, Kate, do you know? No?
Nobody's coming.
Oh.
This is-
All right. We're on to Lost Brook, and, okay. What's this? We have a tripartite.
You're accepting the tripartite?
Yes, and I got-
releasing the format?
Who's he got it with? Oh, Needham
Needham.
Bank? President, treasurer. Oh, God. Vice Representative Bank, okay, the guy signed it down there, all right. Did Marilyn look at it, she said it's all right, she didn't need it up top? Okay. I'll make a motion to accept a tripartite agreement between Planning Board, Lost Brook, and Needham Bank, in the amount of $94,000. Do we have a second?
Second.
Yep, okay, any further discussions? All in favor? Aye. Okay, with that being said, now, I'll make a
Both,
motion.
that has to be signed by the board, as does the other one.
Yeah, but we gotta get rid of the Form F. I'll make a motion to release Form F.
Second.
Second. Any further discussions? All in favor? Aye. So the F allowed him to record it. This now allows him to sell it, and the Form I is a release of covenant that gets recorded too. So I'll make a motion to accept Form I for Lost Brook Trail, lots 1 and 2.
Second.
Second. Any further discussions? All in favor? Aye. So everybody signs the I, and everybody signs the tripartite, right? Go this way. I'll send it back the other way.
Just two places?
Yep, the I and the tripartite. Just make, sign the right place, or you may end up being a party to the tripartite.
No, thanks.
Okay, if you want to put that in there, Phil, you can sign the whole thing, Sarah and Phil.
I don't know if it makes a difference, but the new proposal is 7 lot, and there's 5 lots.
Yeah, if you look, you got the new plan, right? Yeah, he's not using the old road, so we had to count those two, even though they weren't gonna be built new. So now,
On the old one?
yeah, so now he's gonna stick it between,
Yeah, but it's on the agenda, it's still listed 7.
oh, okay.
I don't know if that's an issue, but
No, I mean, Kate will fix it.
I'm sorry, what?
John said Legacy is still, I mean, Dan's just still got his 7 lots, so next time will be 5 lot preliminary, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't even,
Yeah, because now he's stubbing it through.
He's adding two more lots.
Okay.
Okay, there's two
Okay.
things to sign.
Two things. that-
Moving on to Mr. Broley at Baker Street. If I read your thing right, Carl, it says he's done
Thank you.
and we can release.
That's correct.
Okay? So it's a private road, but we do hold a bond to make sure everything's done, so therefore, there's no town meeting to go through or anything. All we do is release it.
Correct.
So I'll make a motion to release the bond on 26 Baker. So we have a second. Any further discussions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? So Mr. Broley's done. All right. A&R time.
Thank you. Hold on one second, Jim.
Is enough for everybody, Kate, do you know?
I'm sorry?
For the A&R, is enough for everybody?
No, I only have three.
No, okay.
Markers. Markers.
No, the, plans.
You have the Mylar? You guys want to share? Jeez, if my buddy Johnny H. was here, I'd do that every time.
Fine, we should be sharing.
Okay. We have an A and R in front of us by, Doris Foley and Colts. And what they're doing is all right. Doris is on the left, Carl, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And she's slicing off this piece?
Her original lot goes like this.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Cutting off this piece to get the circle in, they need a piece from the neighbor. They're giving the neighbor an equal piece back.
Oh, okay. All right.
I took a look at it.
Okay. Okay, so what we have here is for the A and R, they have the frontage requirements on Summer Street, Mulberry, but because they're not changing their frontage, doesn't matter, and the circle fits, so, and it has the proper square foot for, what's this, Residence B? Okay, as Carl explained, is they're gonna create a new lot next to Doris Foley's house. And there's that little triangle, there's two little triangles of lot 3. One's coming to make the house, the other one's going back to the people in Mulberry. So the little circle makes it.
It's just one lot that they're building.
So the lots involved would be Lot 1, which is the present Foley house, Lot 2, which is the new one that created, and Lot 3, which is the one on Mulberry. So,
Lot 3 is being created new or?
no, they're switching, well, every time you create a line, it's a new lot, but what they're doing is in the back, they're swapping triangle pieces.
Okay,
So they're all three of them involved, but both lots are involved creating this third lot, so. Any questions or anything? No? All right, I'll make a motion to endorse. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay.
To sign?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I sign first?
Thank you.
That's
be anything.
Powdered sugar.
Oh, yes.
I have this powdered sugar, I think it would have gone, it's really on there. Okay.
Sharing this? I'm sorry, we're
Yeah.
sharing?
He won't, well, wait a minute, I take that back. I didn't think there were enough in there, this four in there. I'll take that one back.
You want to put those maybe back in, because then if I just touch it, I don't know. I don't know, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I don't know. You trying to scare us?
He's gonna turn the volume off in a minute.
You should go on the bus.
Hey, I never got a detention while I was in high school. Never, ever, ever. Nope. Can you say that, Kate?
This is gonna make you feel better, just being out.
Remember the old wood seats?
No, I'm much younger than you.
Oh, jeez. John remembers them. Used to be able to crawl from the back all the way down because you could fit under these.
It's easy.
What are you, 2 years younger?
What?
No, Kate's 2 years younger than us.
Well, I'm recently, yeah,
Yeah, and Kate's at least a year younger than you.
Never ask someone's age.
Never.
You still whip out your license when you go in the package store? You don't want to card me? Come on, please. Oh, my.
Thank you.
On to Ian Cook, I think it was just, it was a notice to us, if everybody's familiar, Ross Commons. They are for the common space through the conservation, they are the trustee of it instead of having a homeowners association. Ross Commons, up off of Fisher, Viano's, Olmsted. The old, yeah, Bottom's old farm, John. And what it had when we had an open space is, you could either go through a homeowner's residence to control the open space, or you could deed it to a nonprofit, which this is, which is the, whatever Ian Cook, he's part of the Neponset watershed. And he had noticed a few things there and wanted to make sure they get done, and I guess from my understanding, what he wrote is that Witten Homes had addressed all those, so he just wanted to let us know on that, so, which is good, now we don't have to be doing the chasing for any of the road work or the bond work at the end, so.
It looks like there's a few more things they're working out.
Hmm?
It looks like there's a few more things that they're working out.
Yeah,
That's
I think some of we couldn't get at it, or there was some reason, but what Cook had said, I told him to send it to everybody, but he said he was working, he said the guy's pretty good about it, he wasn't running from it, so, which is good. All right, so, last thing is town meeting articles, but it's not necessarily discussion on the articles, because we're gonna wait for the articles, but now, how are we going to proceed on the public hearings? So, that's what's up for tonight.
So you mean when or how?
Both.
Both. Yeah, so I think how, we should do it by Zoom. There might be a lot of people who want to speak about that. And I think there's no sense, having us be here and then everyone else be on Zoom. I would just recommend everybody be on Zoom. And
Okay.
And I think
recommendation.
maybe even just our regular meetings going forward, we can move back to Zoom, perhaps.
I am much in support of that as well.
So my concern with the hearings on Zoom, I have a couple. I think access, we assume everyone has access, and I don't think everyone does have access. That's a good example. Wasn't even gonna use John as an example, but that's a good example. And I feel like it's not fair because we're not giving everyone an equal chance. That being said, I understand we're in crazy times right now. It's just, I feel that's a worry for me if it's someone who doesn't have access or someone who can't figure out how to ask a question, or you can't, I personally feel you can't, I think as a member of the board, you'd be able to see everything fine, but I think as a member of the general public, when the displays are shown, they're really difficult to see, and I feel it's not fair because they're not getting a true picture. And that being said, I wrestle with it myself in that I understand what can we do when we have to move forward, but by the same token, we still have to make it fair for everyone. I also worry about appeals because of those reasons, and grounds for appeals, and I think they could be valid grounds if you're someone who's not able to use it properly or doesn't have access. So that worries me. I think with our general meetings, I think this is a time where everyone's comfort level is different, and I think we have to respect that. I think it's a situation that there's no right or wrong how you feel or what you're worried about. I think everyone's home life is different and everyone's risk is different, and we just have to respect that. But I do feel personally, I feel more of a risk at the supermarket or pumping gas than I do sitting among you. I feel that, and I'm willing to wear, I took my mask off when I came in. When we moved closer, I put it on. I'm willing to wear it all the time if it'll make everyone feel more comfortable. I think we're distanced, and I think, we could do better. So like when we sign, if we all had brought our own pen, or, little things like that. But that's just my feeling. I mean, I understand everyone has a different feeling, and I do feel I'm sensitive to the issues. My mom lives with me, so I do try and be careful. So it's not that I'm just living like high and feeling, you know what I mean, that there's no risk. But I think we should hear from everyone, because I think, everyone's situation is different, everyone's comfort level is different. But that's how I feel. I feel safe sitting among you guys. I feel that we are a group that gets along well, and we can speak to each other respectfully and say, will you wear your mask? Will you bring your own pen? Whatever's going to make us all feel good, if that's possible to be in that situation. But I do worry, and I understand why the Zoom's being recommended, but I worry about it. I worry about whether it's really fair and whether, long-term the appeals could harm us. So those are my two concerns.
So maybe it should be divided into two different questions, though, if you don't bear with me, because based on what town council said, having a hearing, I divide it between us meeting together or not, and then whether the hearing is open to the public or not. So based on the meeting with town council, and I think it was very, very helpful, she seemed to be suggesting that it's much better to have the hearings the public at least be on Zoom, because you need to make sure that you can accommodate more than 25 people, and you don't know how many there might be. And she went over all the rules on how to make sure it's fair. And there are some, we need to be careful about that. But that was kind of the dilemma I heard her saying, that if you're limited to 25 people in the room and you have a hearing, then it's hard to manage that you don't have more than 25 people. So it seemed like at the very least, she was recommending a hybrid approach. And then the second question, whether we want to all meet, together or not. So maybe we should just make it two different discussions.
As a point, like I mentioned, I don't have Zoom access per se. I have called in on the phone to some Zoom meetings. So there are some alternatives. It would be more difficult in our cases we have, because we have plans to discuss and everything. But there have been instances in some of the meetings I've been on the phone to, where communications between the people at home and the board has been iffy at times. And people who try to call in and get make a comment or whatever, have not always been able to actually communicate to the boards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, just a few things. So, in regards to John and not having easy access to Zoom, other towns have had somebody go into town hall that had issues with Zoom. So you could physically go into, for example, town hall and use, computer, internet connection there and be safely away from other people. And then those people that had access, other board members could use it. I know there are concerns with access, and I share those concerns. However, our town council has said that, we can do it, and it's okay, it's recommended. They went through guidelines on how we can do it appropriately. That said, I do feel as a board, we should try to make any and every special accommodations that we can to make sure that we hear from the public, to make sure that if there's somebody that, has a comment or a question, that they're able to voice those concerns. So one thing is allowing public comment via email or letter, and maybe extending the amount of comment period. So we wouldn't close the hearing. This gets a little tricky with town meeting because we only have 2 meetings until we start town meeting. So if we open the public hearings on the 1st, then we can have discussions, and we can, post it that, public comments have to be in, to the planning board office by X date. And that would give people additional time, to make their comments, questions. But town council seemed comfortable that we wouldn't be subject to appeals. Towns all over Massachusetts are doing public hearings via Zoom.
Casually, I've talked to 2 attorneys about it, and they felt differently. Now they're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's no precedent. Nobody knows till it happens, really. Do you know what I mean, how it's going to go? Because we've never been in this situation before. So
Right.
who knows what the outcome would be.
But if we do have a public hearing, though, then we have to address the limited size of the,
Yeah.
and then you have a problem. If more people come, you have to stop the hearing.
Right.
So that has a whole other, and we start off with, with our board, there's
Right.
7 of us at the minimum.
Well, I took notes from that night,
Yeah.
didn't find anything that I didn't already know. She had 33 pages, which she's yet to give to any of us. And I thought someone was going to draft something up we still haven't seen.
Yeah.
But just for everybody who didn't go to the Zoom meeting for
I
that,
misunderstood that. I thought that was for the chair and the vice chair.
no, well, they sent it, and then I
And
sent
that
it
was why
off.
I didn't attend. I could have been there, but the way the original email went, I thought Jack was just letting us know by having Kate send it out.
I want, everybody,
Yeah,
I'm always.
I think Jack wanted anyone and everyone
Everybody,
to.
so you all
yeah.
have an understanding of it.
Right.
So what come out of it was the fact that town council focused on meetings, and it was very clear on meetings, you can limit meetings. So that if we were doing an A&R and there's 30 people coming in, no, you can keep them outside, because they're allowed to view the meeting, but they're not allowed to participate because it's not a public hearing. It's just a meeting, and that's basically what the selectmen have every week or every other week, and the school committee. is they don't have public hearings like we do with the zoning board. So that's one of the things right off the bat cleared up. The other thing that come about is they talked about the zoning board, and the zoning board has chosen as, because I guess the applicant, and I happened to watch it that night for the South Walpole
Summer Street.
40B.
Yeah.
He said 99% of the other towns are doing these. And they went off and they checked it out, and Lauren Goldberg says, no, that's not true. And what she did say is whatever means you pick, it'll be hard to find fault because you're trying to do the best. But one of the things she said recommended for the zoning board, when it's a big, big issue and a lot of people you can't control, you're allowed, as we've been going along, within 45 days after the bans lift, then you'd start up again. So everything can still be frozen if you can't handle the crowd. Basically, that's what she said. So that's what we've been doing with our hearings for all the site plans and subdivisions. What she did was interesting is you can't have a quasi-public hearing, so we couldn't have a public hearing and just allow the applicant in. That's no good. It's either all or not. With the Zoom, when they started getting into it, and I didn't necessarily care for the way I heard, you know, when they jumped on the town meeting articles, because our articles are a lot different than even the 40B, because one of them is the whole town. It's the biggest article I think this town's ever had. So that affects the whole town, way more than the South Walpole 40B with the residents in the neighborhood. And also the Patriots parking, which is a half a mile. That's even a bigger area than they have. But one of the problems they had is talking how to control on Zoom. John, you pointed out some of the problems, is how do you get these people, and we've all watched Zoom meetings. I don't like them, never liked them at work, because you can't see what's up on the screen and how you're gonna manage. So that becomes a real difficult problem. So we could not do a public hearing for those articles right here tonight because you couldn't control the people. She said very appropriately is if you hit the 26th person, you gotta stop. Now, the problem with the Zoom meetings is that everybody must have heard all the little stuff that happened to Taunton. I don't know if everybody heard that. Well, somebody bombed it and was doing inappropriate things. And it went on and they couldn't shut it off. There've been other cases where they've taken over. That's the problem you have with Zoom, is they can bomb it. And one of the things she said about it, and that was a very good point she had, was you have to stop at that instant, and you can't resume until you get it fixed. So if you have technical problems, the whole thing just stops. If you had problems with Zoom or something like that, or someone staying on there and bombing you, you can't continue to do any more meeting until that's addressed. So if you have a situation where if we did a Zoom for a town article and someone just keeps bombing us, we could run out of time. That's the risk of a Zoom, okay? And also having something like this. Now, the one thing is, because you want the public, and as far as comments ahead of time, most of the people's comments will come during the hearing, because that's the first time they're gonna hear the applicants explain what they're trying to do. Because most people can't pick up and read exactly what does that mean. Unless you've been doing this for a while, you're gonna read, what does that really mean? So they're not gonna have questions or comments ahead of time, because it's, and to take them, and that's the whole purpose of having a public hearing, so these people, the public, can actually listen to everybody and then formulate their own opinion. If they want to ask a question, they can, but they...
Right, but if you have a week after the public hearing to review the tape, to look at the plans, then you would be able to submit your
But here, once
comments.
again, you don't have people who can, as John said, he doesn't have a computer, so he can't do Zoom. And you indicated he could
Yes.
go down there. But here's the problem is, if you have 100 people without, now what do? You've denied access to them.
So I just want to make two quick points. So one is, a lot of towns, indeed, everyone doesn't have Zoom, but they just call in. I mean, that has worked a lot for a lot of people, and particularly if people are giving testimony, the most important thing is that that time at that call, everybody can hear what they're saying. But I also want to speak about Zoom. There's two options with Zoom. There's Zoom meeting and there's Zoom webinars. And I do webinars. And with webinars, you have a lot more control over who's being seen on the screen, who can speak. So when the school committee took testimony on the question of the rebel name, That was done through a webinar.
And Phil, I'll give you my position on that right now. I didn't like the way it went because it was done, to me, that's not being transparent. They took it underground. Shouldn't have got rid of the name because I've been involved in this my whole life. And that, to me, left a bad taste in my mouth. If they did it at a public hearing and they voted down, fine. But to do it on Zoom, it always looks like you're trying to sneak something in. That's what it does.
But Jack, otherwise you won't do any hearings until after this is over. This could be another year.
It could be another year.
It could be,
yeah.
it could be, that's what they're saying. So,
Yeah, but Phil, okay, then what is, okay, then let's go to the articles, all right? I don't see any rush that we need to get them by this fall. They could wait till the spring.
well, there's a
They've
rush.
already been waiting.
Yeah, and some,
I understand.
Last
that-
fall, last
But there's
spring.
nothing on there that would change anything that is that we gotta do a risk, okay? But I do have my solution, is if we wanna go forward, we should do it just like the town meeting and have it on the Turco Field. If we do it like that, we're doing exactly what they did for town meeting in June and doing exactly what they're gonna do in the fall. To me, that allows, so if it's good enough for town meeting, I mean, because you do have handicap access, you do have all that. So if you want to do it at the town field, that's fine.
Well, in order to do
Turco
that, we need to have a big screen.
But it's not us. This is one thing, we're zoning board, I mean, zoning board, sorry, we're planning board. We're elected. That's up to
The town.
the town to do it. But the bigger thing is, they're already gonna have to do it, so it isn't like we're asking them to jump through another hoop.
Right.
Just get it out there a
Just
little
do
sooner.
Do the same thing they're gonna do for town meeting, do it early.
Correct. It's almost like a dry run.
Or even if it wasn't on the football field. This is a fairly large room. If they could set it up such that there are screens in other portions of the school, for instance, where multiple people could look at a screen, then if they have a comment, they come in and come in.
Yeah, but the thing is, John, you can't, that's one of the things that was very clear. You can't stop someone from coming in. It's a public meeting. You can't say, no, not your turn. They have a right to be here. That's why if you, 25, that's why if you did it on the field, you probably accommodate the entire world.
but maybe, you know, if you look out for the long term, you know, and a lot of towns are doing Zoom hearings. You know, we're not gonna be able to do football field meetings all the time. And, you know, this is just one hearing, and
Yeah.
maybe it's good to
Yeah,
do
I
this
think-
hearing and seeing how it works and get
At that
experience with it.
meeting, did anyone blatantly ask her about the lack of being able to see the displays?
Yeah, they said that's hard to do, and she said, well, you gotta get it. She was giving her attorney advice, and basically, your attorney advice was no more than Charlie Baker says, 45 days, or this is how you gotta do it. So it was real no technical end of it. She
What?
talked about, you might need somebody over here, administrative person, whoever holds a hand up, that was a thing, and we don't know how to do the phone calls or with the Zoom, and how do you line people up, but technically, she didn't give any,
I think she said you could post things on the town's website, so people could go
Yeah,
and
she
look
said
at
try
it.
to post as much as you
You
can
can,
ahead of
but
time.
there again, if you don't have the ability
Right, how are you
to
gonna see
do
it
it. I mean,
online?
my parents have been gone for a couple of years, but they didn't have a computer. A lot of people, the older people who want to participate don't have that stuff. They don't know how to do it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we're all trying to do the best we can, I mean, that's.
yeah, but that's why, if it's gonna go forward, do Turco Field. Because it's been tried and true before.
But you're gonna have to do a Saturday afternoon meeting.
Well, you could do a Saturday, or you can do a night meeting. I don't know, however you want to do it.
Well, we're getting to that time of year where, you know,
Then there's
people-
Triple E or whatever.
Yeah,
By the time we have it, the mosquitoes will be dead. And besides, we're DEET or something.
We're in a drought, there's not that many mosquitoes.
But the planning board office is open, right? If the public wants to come in and review any
Well, nothing's been
advertised yet. But if it were, like, if somebody wanted to see a plan or review the inclusionary zoning bylaw.
It's also in the town clerk's office, the board of selectmen's office, so it's not, if I weren't there like after 3, then yes, they go to the town clerk or the selectmen's office. Select board, excuse me.
Yeah.
because I'm thinking this is a good hearing to kind of get experience, to see how it does work with a Zoom webinar. I mean, we'd have to work with the town IT people for how they do
I think
For
this
the
one
town meeting
is-
articles?
for the town meeting.
No, to me, Phil, no, it's so many people involved, I'm not going on, for my opinion, I'll tell you right now, it's either on the field, or I say we don't do any of it. What I don't like is the fact that the selectmen took all these and no one ever came up to us and said, what do you think and how you're gonna handle it? They just, I'll say it, shoved it at us, which I don't appreciate, so. You wanna have them, I'm gonna accommodate. You already doing it in the field, we'll do it on the field. Zoom, to me, is not the way to go, especially the amount. You did hear the zoning board isn't gonna do the big 40Bs anymore, correct?
They're not gonna do everything. I think they're
Yeah,
gonna do some
but
pieces of
okay,
it.
but don't you think the
Right,
inclusionary
but-
zoning and the parking and Patriots is gonna have, encompass more people than the 40B down in Winter Street, Summer Street?
I mean, there's gonna be interest, but I don't think it's gonna be crazy.
But it's gonna be the entire, so.
Yeah, okay, the town of Westwood does it. The town of Dedham does it. The
Does
town
what?
of Westwood, Dedham,
What do they do, though?
they do public hearings via Zoom.
Okay?
They do,
Okay.
town of Ipswich, Brockton,
Well.
Middleton, Stoughton,
All right.
Duxbury, Georgetown, South Hadley, Middleborough, Wellesley, Newburyport,
I called
Attleboro.
I called Norwood. And by the way, you know,
We
So I'm
count
I'm just
We-
saying,
Norwood
there are
has the
many.
size of this
the-
table.
Okay, there are many towns and cities across the Commonwealth that are holding public hearings via Zoom or via webinar.
Okay?
I just think of, so I can, and I have to be careful how I word this so I don't give away the project or the people. But I know an older couple who's very interested in a project that's going on right now. And they tried to participate, and they couldn't see anything. And they, as a result, it's almost like it stifles them. They don't want to ask the questions because they're not sure. You know what I mean? It's a situation of, I just, it worries me. I feel like it's giving the citizen, it's giving the project the upper hand and the citizen, you know, they're being, yeah.
But if you look at the zoning articles that we have potentially before us, there's no detailed plans, there's no large complex sets. It's all, text. So which can be, isn't it? What's a,
There's two that, like South Walpole, the overlay district is plans, and South Street was plans,
I didn't get any plans.
because nothing's been, we're still waiting.
Okay, well, okay, now, I'm gonna bring it back. No Zoom for me, so if we're gonna do the articles, it's gonna be on the Turco Field. So we might as well figure, so, I'll make a motion for all those in favor
So
of
are we just discussing this?
these, yeah.
Town meeting
Not all.
articles.
Town meeting articles, only because it's so complex. I have another, I'll throw it out there now, is I like these better than Zoom. And what we could do is offer to each individual player that comes in to say, look, we'll do it here, but if we go over the 25 people who want to be here for this, then we'd have to suspend it. We'd ask if they want to go forward like that. Does that make sense?
However, we have a member of the planning board that's not comfortable meeting in person. So
Okay.
I think we should respect
Okay,
those wishes.
so, but do you have an issue with having this at the town, at the field? No?
No, other than the logistics, just,
No, that's not our problem, it's gonna be Mr.
and
Johnson's.
and also making sure it's at a time that people are going to be able to get to it, because we don't have that many weekends.
No, we don't.
To
Okay.
do that.
So I'll make a motion to have have our articles at the Turco Field. Do I have a second? All right, why don't I do this one? Make a motion to do it on Zoom. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
I need, wait, I need a
Opposed.
second. Wait, wait.
So there's no Zoom.
Jack,
So-
wait, who seconded that?
Nobody seconded.
Yeah.
No second.
What, the Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, make a motion to have it on Zoom.
okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor of Zoom, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye, it's okay. So now, the only last one to do it would be, we can't do it here, as we know, would be, I'll make a motion to have the town meeting articles on Turco football
There's
field.
already a motion and a second on the floor.
Oh, we do, okay,
Yep.
sorry. Are we live? Okay, we have a second motion. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Okay. Okay, you can tell Jim
Did you
tomorrow.
abstain?
I'm going to abstain. I'm going to abstain, Kate.
Phil abstained from the
Abstained.
list.
Okay.
So I think we should continue to discuss, though, how we move forward
Okay,
after
but
that.
let's get this, but I want
Okay.
to get this. Now, Kate, you got a calendar in front of you or anything?
I don't, but what would you like? Oh, when you gonna have it?
We're gonna, now, Phil, you suggested this, was it you said a Saturday?
Let me tell you what we can do. We can't do October 1st because it would have had to have gone in the paper on Wednesday.
That's a Thursday.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, Thursday.
So the
That's
first
our
question, are we
regular
looking to do it at
Right,
night?
but October 1st, we can't hold that meeting because it would have to have been advertised yesterday. Because now
Yep.
the times changed, they're out on Wednesday now, not Thursday. So we lose a whole week. So we can do a special meeting on October 8th, which can go in the paper on 9:23 and 9:30, or we can do October 15th.
Or,
What about on the weekend?
Do we need to check first with the town to see what they can pull together for the field
Yes.
I think so.
before we go ahead and
Yeah.
set a date?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
well, that'd be the next thing, but we got to discuss when we think we could do them. Now, everybody doesn't want to do them at night, correct?
Well, it's just a question of whether that's, I don't mind doing it at night myself, but I just want to make sure it's,
People come if they're working, yeah, well, Saturday we work too, probably.
yeah, so,
I mean,
Jack,
we
Jack, I
typically
don't,
have our public hearing at night.
yeah, I don't
So-
mind at night, just want to make sure that people are gonna find that better than
Are
going to a
there
Zoom meeting.
lights, right? We could,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right, could we do it on the, you said we could hit the 8th, Kate?
Well, yeah, we make it
Theoretically.
advertising wise.
Okay. And when would you have to know by that they can get it set up for that?
It has to go in the paper, 9:23.
Which is next
Hold
Tuesday,
on.
Wednesday?
So it would have to, I don't
Yeah.
even know if we'll make that one because,
and don't we have to also allow for a rain date?
That's what I was gonna say, Phil.
Yeah, so we,
I would say if we're gonna do it,
We better
we'll
do
the
two.
7th and then the 8th.
eighth, yeah.
I'm not going to make the 23rd. It would go in the paper on the 30th and the 1st because it would have had to have been in today for
Okay,
next
so,
week.
so when can we do it, Kate?
Looks like we can do it on,
So if it went in the paper on the 30th, can we have the meeting on the 7th or the 8th? Or does it have to
Yeah.
run? Yeah, so that would be,
All
so it
right.
would run the 30th, and then it
on the
would
30th, you're
run
talking about the, oh, wait, have the meeting when?
on
Wednesday
October
the 7th.
7th or October 8th.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants a Friday.
Yeah.
It's not like there's gonna be any football out there either.
It would have to go in the paper this past Wednesday, if you count 14 days back.
So does it have to appear in the paper twice?
Yes, the first being 14 days prior.
And we can't have the meeting on the day that the paper comes out? Can we have it the next day?
Mhm.
So we could have it the 8th. Or the Saturday, the
No, we
10th.
couldn't because it has to be to the paper by the previous Friday to run that Wednesday.
Yeah, but if you
I'm
got
sorry,
it in, if
Thursday.
you got it in next week, it would appear on the it would appear in the paper on the 30th, and it would go in the paper on the 7th.
Okay. yeah.
And then we could have the meeting on the 8th,
Okay.
or the Saturday, the 10th,
Well,
the rain date.
That makes sense.
And then we need
Yeah,
a
if it came-
second meeting, because what if we don't actually close?
Well, you can just continue it there.
Huh?
You're
We're not
saying
open, we're having a hearing, it isn't like you gotta give them, we control that, so
between the 30th.
we can say,
For a zoning article even?
yeah, but we'd have to give the 48-hour notice, that's all.
But we have to tell the
But
town,
if you-
like,
if it
we
came out
also
on the
need the
30th.
Turco Field for the
2
next
days? Yeah.
Thursday, the
The
15th.
8th is not 14 days,
It's not?
no, to the 30th. If it went in the paper on the 30th,
Okay, then,
Right.
I would say,
now the
14th.
10th is Columbus Day weekend.
yeah, I don't get it off,
Well,
so it doesn't make,
that's to us.
but you can't do it on a Monday anyway.
When's town meeting?
The
It's
9th.
going to be the
Potentially
19th,
the
but they're pushing it back to the 17th, I heard.
17th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if
That's
it's
what I
true. Is that true?
That, I heard it.
I heard
too. Like
that,
you,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's,
Yeah, I don't,
that was reported at one of the select
Kate,
board
how about
meetings.
the 14th, 15th,
the 13th
We
or
can do
14th.
that.
Yeah, 13th or
or
14th.
13th, 14th, whatever?
13th, 14th, we can do that.
Yeah. If we did the 13th, We don't, and what you can do, Kate, is my suggestion is we schedule it for 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Just 14th and 15th, because we need the 14 days.
Oh, 13th doesn't work?
No.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna say 14th and 15th, okay. But you put it in the paper like that, because if we didn't, she said we'd have to have 48 hours. So if you
Right.
say boom and a boom, we're all set.
But then, so let's say we start on the 14th, there's no rain. We
Yep.
started, we discuss it, whatever, the night goes long and we don't end up voting. Is that possible? And then we just come back the next day to
Well,
continue?
we can always, we don't have to vote that night. We could always come back the next day. and
But
just-
whenever we vote, has to be a public,
No, we have
Hearing
voted
still.
downstairs before, I think,
I guess we,
in the library. I think we have. Remember on some stuff?
yeah.
Yeah,
We voted up here in the room
Yeah.
once too.
that's why they give us the room.
The difference is it would have to be a verbal
Yeah, no, the
recommendation.
vote doesn't, because
to
once you
town meeting.
go into the vote
Right,
mode, no
yeah.
one can talk anymore. Yeah. Yeah, we can get around it like that, meaning we can
Yeah,
just.
whenever they print the warrant, they're not going to have our votes.
No.
Yeah.
But it
Well, they
doesn't-
never-
but
they never do,
They don't
yeah.
usually anyway. That's, I don't
So,
think really.
Okay, what are we, so was it 14th and 15th?
That's what you
Thursday,
said.
Friday.
Oh, no.
No, it's,
Thursday, yeah. Is that what it said?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday,
Yeah.
okay. 13th is good on that Wednesday, no, that's Tuesday. 14th is a Wednesday. Write that down. All right.
You can do this 14, 15, 16 if you wish.
And we're going to do all of the articles at the one hearing.
Yeah,
And nothing
Would it make
else.
That's
sense to shuffle the order so that getting the easy ones done and out of the way first?
what's the easy one?
Which one is easy?
And we're going to invite the sponsoring parties to give a presentation.
Well, they're supposed to.
They're
I mean, if
supposed
they
to,
don't
yeah.
show up, I say, my vote is, you can't show up? No. They gotta be there. Probably the less, well, would be the South Street one, only because it's his property and he wants to put a solar field, and it's an overlay. That would be the first one. And the second one would probably be the one on downtown, or wherever it is, 1,000 feet.
I think that's probably the easiest one, the CBD.
Yeah.
That's just nothing.
Yeah, those two shouldn't be,
Really,
and then
very
it's a
quick.
coin flip between Patriots parking and inclusionary, so.
Now, as far as showing people the presentation, right, now in the football field, how are we showing?
How do they do it at town meeting?
They don't
I didn't see any.
They don't do anything.
I don't think they really
There's-
had any.
There's no display, no
They didn't have no
presentation, no anything.
computers.
So just know that
But
we're,
it was such a like
Very
quick and
simple.
dirty town meeting. I mean, they
Yeah.
purposely
We
held
had-
off all
we
the
had-
complicated
Complicated
stuff,
ones.
thinking
So
the world
so
was
would
gonna
they
be
have
better.
flyers to pass
Yeah.
out? Would that be good enough?
That would be what we tell
But-
any of the applicants, to have flyers.
but I just want to point out
Flyers,
this.
but then everybody's touching the flyers.
No,
But-
I mean their own, so you each have, have a
But-
pile of,
But I do want to point out, this was one of the disadvantages supposedly of the Zoom meeting, that people wouldn't be able to see the presentations. So-
Right.
So, it's-
No.
So there's no presentation.
so,
but if there's paper
yeah,
that not everyone's touching,
right,
except for you're touching your own,
right.
that's one way. The only other way I could come up with, just shot in the dark, is they could do boards, but then everyone has to huddle around the board to see it, so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that
no.
defeats the purpose.
I
So
mean,
think-
I'm good with the paper, I was just pointing
Yeah.
out, though, that this does not solve the problem of
Here's-
everybody seeing the presentations.
No, no,
It does if they have it in front of them.
but here's
You
something,
know what I mean? They can follow along. If they have it in
The
front of them, it
South local one, we have a
completely
board
solves the
with
problem.
the circles, so that everyone can see where it is and identify it. And then they don't need to stick.
yeah, they should come with a board to hang it on, just like any other applicant does. But my other suggestion will be, is when we put it on the website, we're gonna ask the applicants, Kate, is that they have it in PDFs, that anybody, it can go on the website and they can, I think you can click on from that. I don't know if you can, yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
But then again, there's people who
PDFs.
can't access.
No, but what I'm saying, Kate, is, and Phil's point is, why hand them out to 100% of the people? Maybe you only have to hand it out to 20%.
Yeah.
That's,
And a PDF gives you the benefit that someone can actually download the full-size diagram, and then they can actually
Yeah.
zoom in on their computer and,
Yeah, if you can get
If
out,
they-
PDFs are the way
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
And, but like Phil said, we limit the number of people wanting to read that stuff at that time, so.
because you want people to read things ahead of time if you want, if you can.
Yeah, well, they need the
That's a
presentation.
benefit to everyone.
Yeah, plus they get the, yeah, when you
It's
send
something
it,
they can study early ahead of time on their own, they have a thing they can explore all that.
that's why I like PDF plans, is because I can pop them on my computer at work and I can blow them up, rather than these half-size or whatever, it's a lot simpler.
Actually, I would just like to make a comment. It would be really, I think, better for us too, if all of our presentation material that all of this applicants submit were in PDF, that we could just get all those copies ahead of time.
Well, that's what I've
That's
asked
hard,
for.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a lot of scanning.
Well, typically, the applicants, when they're doing it, like all the engineers, they do it on a computer anyway, and
Right.
this is short, boom, they can.
so it starts
send
with a PDF.
Yeah. And I'm sure Kyle would make that, you get your stuff on PDFs on them if, say if you have something come to us, do you look at our plans, the hard copy, or do you ask, say, Truax for a PDF?
I like the PDFs, but for review purposes, I like a plan on the table.
Okay.
But I very much want the PDFs.
But if you ask them for a PDF, they'll send it to you,
They
right?
will.
Yeah, okay.
And if we could, if that could be sent to each of us, because the benefit of the PDF for us is that we're not getting the full-size plan. So sometimes you're looking at it and you're trying to read something, and if you had the PDF, you could zoom in and just see that part of it.
Which is fine, except once that happens, do you also want paper copies?
No, we need the paper, that's in the zoning
That's-
book. That's a
yeah.
requirement. This is for our own.
Just for the board members to.
Okay, it doesn't cost them anything. It's already done in PDFs to them, and they all have electronic files, they just hit a button. So you're not asking to do anything.
As long as we're not asking Kate to do all the scanning.
No, it would be, I'm assuming we're getting them from the applicants.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times I want to like share information with the public, right? So I take a picture and then I make a PDF and then I, I mean, but so it'd be nice if it were just like,
Bang. Right.
grab this plan and share it, but.
Okay, and all right,
We got
I
off
have
track,
it.
but,
No, we didn't, but I don't want to get too much, but I think next time we meet that's one of the motions will be, is that we have requirements for the PDF, for not only us, but it can go right on the website, because a lot of towns I know do that.
yeah.
And a guy I work with, he lives in Framingham, and boy, you should see their website for he showed me a piece of property, right there. It's the lot, almost what I'm not gonna say it's 100%, but it's what's recorded in the deed. You hit this thing, it tells you where the FEMA map is, you hit everything is there, boom, 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 all touch of the button. I said, that's unbelievable. So that, if you have stuff like that.
We do have some of that with the GIS system. Carl can speak.
Yeah,
more
but
to that.
but you gotta go to that, Phil, with
Yeah.
Framingham.
Oh, I see, it's right there, right
So if
there.
I went to your house in
I
Framingham,
see.
boom, I wanna see where the wetlands are, or where
Right.
the FEMA map
Ah.
is. It's a very nice thing. But we can, next meeting, we can make a vote to have them required to give us a PDF, and then when it goes on the website, people can go there and see what's up.
Wouldn't we need an official, like, zoning change before a town
No,
meeting?
it's all, our zoning, we have our own way of submitting plans, so we can ask them when they do submit to give it to us. But we can just do a vote like that and amend it, just like we amend the fees and that stuff. But most
And the
of them.
same would apply to like site plan and
Yeah, with
subdivision,
But
everything.
I don't think you'll find any engineer not agreeing, Kyle, do you?
Everybody will furnish PDFs if you want.
They already have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, we're gonna get a few guaranteed, like, well, do I gotta submit the copies? Yeah. I gotta make paper well, that's the requirements, and that still isn't gonna go away, but it just makes, and like, saying, Phil, you can sit at home and pop it up, and you can kinda dial in a little bit, so, okay. All right, I think that's,
So
So we're going to shove it back to town meeting, or to the town and say, you
Yep.
figure it out.
And are we just gonna leave it hanging for future, or are we going to discuss?
Oh, yeah, we need to figure that out.
on future,
I have a question.
well,
What's going to happen if in fact we're turned down for the Turco Field?
oh, if we're okay.
I'm just asking.
You're gonna turn us, who's gonna turn us
I
down?
don't know.
Why?
Money.
I get,
Could
everybody,
they be-
money, town has way more money than Jack does, that's all I ever hear.
Could they be using the field for something else? I have
No, because there are no
idea.
sports going on.
There's no sports? Okay.
No.
Okay. I just want to know how
They
to.
use
How,
the
you know,
fence on the field anyway.
The way I
can't say
feel
no.
is I'm.
Just tell them that.
They can't say no.
They can't say no.
Sarah said,
What?
They can't
Sarah
say
and
no.
Jack say they can't say no.
You know, if they want, I'm more than happy to go to Tuesday night meeting and say, wait a minute, you shove these articles at us, we come with a solution that you're already using, then you say no? Thanks. Then I know what my vote would be, then see you in 45 days after the things are lifted.
Forget I asked.
So how many chairs should they set up? 100? That's going to be a question, too.
Well, the thing is, the chairs is, if, they're gonna have the town meeting a few days after, just set them up once.
And just leave it there.
Yeah, and I think all the chairs are,
That would work.
yeah, they're
That's
plastic
100
anyway,
yeah,
so
it's
they gotta set
150
up.
150
We're not
chairs,
asking them to do
yeah.
anything other than a couple days ahead.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah.
So we need chairs for Thanksgiving.
So, don't forget to tell Jim tomorrow.
Excuse me?
Don't forget to tell Jim tomorrow.
I'm not in tomorrow.
Jim, are you watching?
You'll be setting the chairs up on the 13th. So, okay, the other stuff, we should see how this goes, but what do we have hanging there?
We have a tentative meeting on the 1st, which is my daughter's birthday, so.
All right, so we can't do the first.
We have a cake coming, okay?
My
Unicorn
husband's
cake.
is tonight. Happy birthday.
Aw,
There's nothing that,
We need to do
we
Well,
it.
we
still have
just- we
COVID
just
hold,
put,
but there's not,
Peach Street, but
yeah, but he
We
said
can
he'll go to
do the-
whenever, so if we didn't meet the first, he's okay with the 15th.
Well, the other thing, Kate,
but
is,
then if we're meeting on the field on the 15th,
yeah, and
we're going to also
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about that?
No, I don't think we can.
talk about what?
Peach Street.
I don't think you'd
It'd
want
have
to
to,
do that.
it'd have to be after that.
Oh,
But we,
So then we needed a further extension.
Right.
Would he be okay with that, or?
if he wants to do it in front of 200 people, go for it, Dan.
Or,
And they're all live on
do you
Peach
want to come in
Street.
on the first just for miscellaneous things?
I don't mind, yeah, it's
Why don't
okay.
we just do the first?
Or if we're doing it via Zoom?
All right.
And that way, whatever's there, fine, if it's a 10-minute.
Yeah, whatever we
it's a
got
10
coming up for that, we'll
right,
get
exactly.
rid of Peach
I
Street,
mean,
that's fine. And we can also, because even though it's public hearings, we're gonna have to do a regular meeting, so
Right,
if we have any little other discussion items, we can do them at
right,
that point
let's just do
too.
the first, so.
So first in person or first on Zoom?
No, when we're at the field.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a regular meeting ananyway, so if we got
Okay.
something there, we can have a
Something
little
small.
agenda.
yeah.
I don't think we're gonna have it much, and we're not gonna sit there and talk about something for 2 hours and then go to the, what do you call it, articles?
So what are we doing on the 1st?
Probably Peach Street, right?
so am I the only
No,
one?
but
If
in
I'm the only
person
one.
or on Zoom?
Well, I don't like Zoom, but
Well, the
I think I might be the only one who-
He's just presenting the
Can you-
plan.
But if you're uncomfortable, Phil, I mean, I don't want to be the
Can
one
you-
to ask you
No,
to choose your
Can-
health or serving on the planning board.
can you do remote, Phil? You do it here?
You either have to be everybody has to be together or none. You can't. I think that's what they said, right?
Phil,
Oh,
is
that
there
was for the
No, I didn't
public.
But if the public is allowed
But the public
here-
is out, yeah,
I agree with Sarah. I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable in any way.
yeah.
Is there anything we could do to make you more comfortable?
I don't mind doing one more meeting. I'll be honest with you, I'm concerned when the cold weather, and there's supposed to be an uptick in incidences, so
Yep.
for me, it's a probability thing. I mean, I do some things, and I'm careful about other
And
things.
also, we know, like,
That's
high
it.
school students are in this
Building,
building
Yeah,
yeah. That also
every
got-
day.
That got me
Or like
more,
four days out of the week
that got
as
me more
well, so
concerned.
that's,
All right, well,
Hundreds of
Try the one more, and
students.
if there's an uptick, we'll have to do it at that
Yeah.
time. I'm not
I
gonna
don't,
say-
I know John has,
And I'm
yeah.
more than willing to wear my mask the
That's it,
whole time.
yeah.
Like, if we can spread the tables a little more, anything that'll make
Yeah.
it more comfortable, I'm agreeable to that.
But is it possible for Phil to call in?
I thought they could, I don't,
Because now that we have the Mullen rule, whatever, like,
Yeah.
he can review the tape, but he can also call
We
in
can-
and
we can
officially
ask that.
participate.
The selectmen have done that.
Yeah, I'd probably be more
Yeah, matter of
tempted to be
fact, yeah,
here.
matter of
If
fact, I
everybody
know
else was
that.
here, I'd probably
Yeah.
come in, because then it would be.
I've
a-
seen,
Well, we
that-
don't-
I've seen that before on the
I remember
site.
Kraus calling in.
Right, yeah, the
Years
select board
ago.
has done it many times.
So is the select board meeting in person?
The what?
Is the select board meeting in person?
No,
No, they're not, right?
I don't think
I don't
any
think-
other
no
town
other
board.
Yeah, I know the
in
library
Walpole is
library
meeting.
trustees
But their
met
stuff-
once.
Oh, they did.
In person, in the second meeting, my wife's at it, they decided not to,
Yeah.
so,
Eric Kraus did, I remember when he was
Yeah.
traveling, would call in.
yeah.
So I don't think that's it, but we'll see what happens on the 1st.
So we're gonna proceed with the first as
Yeah.
usual.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if it starts, everything starts to go south, then we'll have to do something else.
And are you able, John, how does that work for you? Are you able to participate if we do a Zoom?
I think we're going to be here.
Well, with the condition that, so the PC is looking down hall, I can get out.
Yeah, if we get to a situation where it starts upticking.
So
then we
October
gotta go to
1st is going to
Zoom.
be like this, no
Yeah.
people, just a meeting.
But,
Well, people
Well,
can
it's Peach
come.
Street, so we have to have them.
who? Have to have who?
And if there's more than 25 people, then we have to
It's a
stop.
preliminary, that's not,
No,
about us not
no,
noticed.
it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
a public hearing, so we can limit who's in here.
Right,
But as far as,
it'll
if we
probably
gotta
just
go
be Dan.
Zoom in the future starts to
And
get
this-
worse again, then
So
we'll have John get set up.
Rentham just got put back on the list.
Down
And so did Plainville,
Plainville, yeah,
And
Rentham and
Milton.
Plainville. So
And
that's why
Dedham.
it's a real thing.
And
yeah.
Dedham, yeah.
and Dedham, yeah.
Dedham's
I
in
think if
red.
we end up going
That's a-
Zoom, I would request that we start thinking now about how we make the displays friendlier to everyone. Whether it be a situation of they're available in your office and they can come get a copy, or they can call and ask you to mail a small copy. I think that would be crazy work for you, but, and.
They have
if
to
we
pay
could
for
have them
copies.
on the website.
So I don't know.
Doesn't the
Because
town
if you
have
could do
19
Zoom, you have
People
access
in
to
the
the
office?
website. So if we could have them on the website and they could look at them ahead of time on the website, just something, so it's something that the people who aren't comfortable with it can have time ahead of time
Mhm.
to sit and play around with on the computer and look at. Somehow, I just feel that's lacking. I feel we have to somehow ensure that everyone can see what we're talking about and what it is.
And the library is open, right, now?
Library's
Some-
open.
Some of
By-
the
by
times?
appointment.
Limited basis, yes.
Yeah,
By
so
appointment.
a Walpole resident could go to the library
Yes, they're closed.
hypothetically and
Yeah.
use the computers there.
They're not open at night.
I
But they
think
could
for-
Yeah,
during the
but I
day,
mean, they
during the
could
day,
go,
during
like,
the day.
review
Yeah.
I think
plans.
for the majority,
I do
Yeah.
that.
I think for the majority of the people who can access Zoom, if it were available online, it would be great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because even if they aren't comfortable online, if they have time ahead of time to mess around with it, they're going to figure it out.
Mhm.
But I feel just throwing it up at the meeting isn't enough.
Right, yeah.
So think about it. I don't know the solution, but think about it. We'll come up with something.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say, Kate. We're all volunteers. We all have our lives. We have a whole town hall that should have already come up with this. It shouldn't be up to us. They have a whole media staff, they have all that.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people aren't worried about it. I think a perfect example of that is town council. She wasn't worried about it,
No,
right?
she didn't care because she was already told what to say.
But I think as elected officials, we have to worry about it.
But we have
Because
to,
that's who we're
but
representing.
but what you just said should be put back at the administration to produce something for us, right? That they should figure out if a webinar, I don't know, I heard the term, I've never been on one.
Yeah,
If that
web-
works better, then maybe, and you got people like Ashley down there who should be able to put that and work with the media, because that's what they do. I don't,
So when you do a webinar, the whole screen, so like, there's one person who mans it usually,
okay.
who's in charge. And then what happens, so instead of having 100 Zoom squares, at least all the webinars I've participated in, instead of having 1,000 Zoom squares, we're all on and we can participate if we hit the button. But for example, if they have a display, the display takes up the entire screen. So that's what's different, Jeff.
Well, that's what's better, because that's why I don't like Zoom, you can't see, all I see is people's nose hairs on,
Yeah,
30
no.
people on that.
Yeah, so that, in a webinar, there's, in Zoom, there's panelists, and you define who the panelists are, and then there's attendees.
Is it
And-
similar to, at work, we just started Teams?
Yeah, so Teams is a Microsoft product,
Okay.
which it works differently, but,
Yeah, what happened when you have our meetings,
Yeah,
someone controls the screen,
Yeah,
and you see
yeah.
the little initials down there.
yeah, so.
You don't need to see me.
You will not.
there, You need to see what's up on the screen.
Yeah, in the webinar, all of the attendees, their mics are muted and their video is muted, they can't turn them on.
Okay.
If someone wants to if someone wants to ask a question, they can either do it through the chat, they could do it, there's a Q&A option, and then last, there's a hand, you could raise a hand. and then the
But
moderator.
it's also maybe more secure, is it not?
It's, oh, much more secure, yeah, we just did.
So you don't have the
just,
same
I just-
worry about the bombing.
Yeah, I just did one last night. Library Friends, we just did our first one for, I do a lot of work, but it just went, and it works very well. And so when you ask someone, if someone has a question, they can even type the question out in the Q&A, and then the moderator will call on them will unmute their mic and ask them to do this. And then they can speak, and that's what controls to make sure people don't bomb the meeting.
And sometimes there's one person running the meeting, so like you, and then there's someone else who's manning the questions.
Yes, and
So
you
someone
would,
keeps an eye on it, and they can say, Jack, we have a question
Ex-
from Sarah.
yeah, exactly. You want to have both,
Yeah.
you want to have those separate tasks.
That's why I
Yeah.
see when I get emails to come on this webinar. So no one ever sends you an email, be part of the Zoom thing when they're trying to sell you something. So that's, yeah, that's what I think is missing, is when someone presents a plan or something like that.
Right.
It's hard to see. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
much easier if you're actually trying to communicate ideas and,
Yeah.
to actually see the full presentation, PowerPoint, map, or whatever you want to
That'd be easy
show.
enough for them to.
And the last thing is that you can, with Zoom, and then you can do this with meetings or with webinars, but you can ask everybody to register. So if someone just can't, you don't get a link for the meeting. What you do, you get a link to where you register, and you have to enter your name and address, and your name and your email address.
Or the code.
And then Zoom will send out the invite. Actually, the meeting organizer can define whether or not they want Zoom to send out the meeting invite automatically, or they will approve each person who registers. So you get a lot more control.
And then the only thing with that is, can last minute people jump in?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can invite somebody on the spot, or any,
So the ones I've done, I had to, sign up ahead of time.
yeah, no, if you could register at that moment, or you don't need to do registration either, depending on, how you want to do that, how open you want to make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know the time I
And-
called in, they always said, well, if you see someone's called in, whatever, and they ask who it is, so you identify yourself so they know
Who you
who's
are,
on the
yeah.
line.
Yeah, the last thing about webinars is you can also make anyone else a panelist on the fly. So if there's somebody else you want to, on the fly, present, you can, the moderator can immediately make them a panelist, and they become part of the meeting. And then you can make them
And
go
they
away.
could share their screen.
Share the screen and do everything,
hypothetically,
yeah.
Now, in that same idea, you could say you can have, can you then subtract them after that?
You can, yes, you can, as a moderator, you can make anyone go away. If someone was bombing your meeting, if someone was bombing the meeting,
Control the, I don't, that's, I asked,
Someone presents
Phil say
information, you'd want to have, like.
I think for like town meeting articles, the town should provide something.
I
think so.
Well, their issue is.
I don't want to do it. I don't think
yeah,
articles, I don't want to.
actually, for those, you probably you just would unmute their microphone and have allowed to speak.
Right.
And then-
Even when I'm
but
doing the
But again, all
content,
these are options.
it's hard
So
because I
in this
wanna
case,
hear everything.
the town has the Zoom license. I'm sure, probably have a corporate license, and they would be the ones to manage and set
So
up the
you get
meeting.
the webinar.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that makes sense, because now you can see it. The other thing, Phil, that the way you're explaining is now, when the applicants and his team, they're gonna have to be a little more, meaning like, you wanna talk, No. Boom, 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 boom. The presentation becomes more formalized.
That's right,
And so that everybody's gonna have to have their together.
yeah.
We'll make it go a little quicker.
So I think the biggest hurdle with Zoom is, and this is a real one, we want to be respectful of this, because we do want everyone to participate, but
Yeah.
the biggest hurdle is that everyone doesn't have a device that maybe always works all the time. We see a lot of people who are using an iPhone or an iPad, and then they're having problems all of a sudden, and that would be the,
However,
that is
many
the challenge.
towns are
But-
finding that more people are participating.
well-
And, they're getting more participation from a wider range of people.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, whatever, parents with young children who can't go to town hall in, the middle of an evening or whatever. Like, they're seeing a wider participation, not a stifling of it.
And that's a good
I mean,
point, Sarah.
there are
Yeah.
some people which are concerned, and I think, we should do everything we can to include every single person who wants to participate.
And per council, we're obliged to do that.
Yeah.
But the other thing, also, people are more familiar now with Zoom meetings because everybody's doing them. Not everybody, but more and more people are
More
doing
They
them.
look so, what do
So-
you call it?
But-
I forget the term, like,
The schools have.
Stone
gone to
Age.
them.
Yeah.
It's just so like,
Yeah.
and I don't understand why they keep people there. It would be better
Yeah.
if it's Zoom, you
Yeah.
just
Because
had
I guess
something
it's
up
harder
there.
to access.
That's me.
More
Yeah,
secure.
that's where the
I don't
webinar
know,
comes
more
in.
safe.
Yes,
So
okay,
nobody,
that's-
nobody's there unless you're a
And
panelist.
that's why,
Yeah.
that's how they push it all the time when I get emails at work. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what would be good if, if we have, like, the town meeting articles are big, but if you have a small subdivision, you can always have the people that noticed is if you need something, you can come here. That can be put at the bottom too.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that for the whole, well, we don't notice anybody in the town meeting anyway. It's up to someone else, but still, yeah, you can kind of limit, I mean, not limit, but you could probably make accommodations. If you have 5 people say they couldn't do it, okay, down the town hall, you can go into this room or whatever. So, okay.
So Jack, there's no decision on how we're gonna move forward with, like, I have 3 or 4 people that are waiting for
Well,
hearings.
we
We're gonna
gotta
wait.
see, well, step one is you're gonna go tell Jim tomorrow.
Dear Jim, call Jack.
Dear Jim, call Jack.
Step 2 would be asking them, are they gonna get a webinar? Because, we're not
But the
gonna.
town has webinars,
Yeah,
right?
the town
they
has,
do?
town has, yeah, town
They
has.
don't use it.
Oh, yeah, no, they did it for the school committee meeting. I was one of the ones who made a statement around the rebel name.
How come they didn't do that the other night with us? That would've been better.
I don't know, but,
When we did the Zoom for the,
Ashley's giving a presentation,
Lauren.
a webinar.
It was
informational
yesterday.
thing. I don't remember when it
But,
is.
I mean-
Yesterday.
It was,
how come you- how
I
come they
went
didn't
to
do it
like
when we had
promote it, and I was
Mr.
like,
Marlboro?
oh, yesterday, okay, never mind. Sorry, Ashley.
our town council?
Yeah, remember, they didn't do it for that.
Yeah, they did not do that for that. They could have, but they did not.
No, and you saw
Yeah.
right off the bat is,
Yeah, they could've done
Lauren, you're on page 5,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're still looking at page 1.
Yeah, they could have done that.
And there was
Yeah.
another issue
Yeah.
coming up. Yeah, I wish
So-
they'd done it that. I
So,
would.
so the difference is if you want everybody at the meeting to know who's there, because you want people to participate and talk between themselves, you want to do a meeting. If you want to do a more controlled event where you have main presenters, and then you want people just to comment and you want to control that, the webinar is so the town has, I have a license for the Library Friends. We have both for meetings and webinars. By the way, for a license for a person is very reasonable, surprisingly. But for the town, they would have a corporate license that would allow them to do multiple meetings, and they would assign multiple
So they should, if
accounts.
not, they should have one, because we're gonna go, the whole town's gonna go forward. They should, every board, and I think that was I think, Sarah, you said, maybe why isn't everybody on the same page? If everybody on webinar, we wouldn't be talking, you got Zoom, you got webinar,
Right.
we go like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, and at that meeting, right, they said they were gonna come up with, guidelines.
you had asked, yeah,
I
you'd asked them
haven't-
to do that.
I
and they were
haven't
supposed
gotten
to
any
do that.
guidelines yet.
I know you
But-
said,
but
I
it would
just
be
didn't
good to
wanna
do that.
say, but I know it's like, you said, yep, okay.
Because I do think we need to look ahead. If this goes on a year, and it's very likely it will.
Right, yeah.
We do need to see how we make this be something that we can do it fairly easy, that we don't have to,
Right.
but we do want to make sure everybody can participate. I mean,
Right,
I mean-
and we do have an obligation to the applicants to continue to hear their projects, so.
Yeah, but they also know they're in the same boat, so. But, yeah, we'll look at that stuff. Make sure we get a webinar after going forward for the November meetings.
So the decision then is on the 1st, we're meeting here
Yep,
at the high school,
whatever we got plus Peach Street.
and then we've got 14th and 15th scheduled on the field.
Yep.
Okay.
And that will fill up if we get an A&R or something like that, right?
Yeah. And then at one of these meetings, we can discuss again, maybe the potential of a webinar.
And maybe they can have it set up by then, we can try it.
Yeah.
Kate, I'm thinking for the meeting out on the field, is if we have an A&R, we don't have to do it. So would it make sense for us to start at 6:55 for our stuff, bang that through, and then public hearing start at 7?
or you can do 7:05 for the public hearing.
Okay, 7:05, we'll do it, yeah.
And that way,
Because we don't want to be sitting where the entire place empties out, and we're sitting there at midnight doing our stuff. Let's get our stuff done first.
It wouldn't be unusual just to have nothing but public hearings for the zoning.
No, I understand, but if.
But an A&R would have no
dropped
interest,
in,
right,
yeah.
right.
Someone wants a bond reduction.
Right.
Nah, I don't think so.
But if we schedule at 7:05, we can
Yeah,
start at
7:05.
7:10 if something comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably do it 7:05, 7:10, 7:15, and 7:20. And that,
Oh, each have one, so.
Yeah.
yeah, at least it gives people, they're gonna know which way it's going, and at least they don't have to be there at 7:05 if it's a 7:20 they want,
Yeah.
so. You go for nothing, and they say, well, we can't do it.
We've had no rain. You watch. The drought's about to end.
We had, about 2 weeks ago, we were doing pretty good for a while, but good snow.
So at town meeting, there was like kind of one speaker area. There's enough space to put us all like this?
Yeah, you can
On
spread it out.
those, on those stands or something, or?
Like the finance committee, oh, they had the selectmen,
I did see Jim up there,
Yeah,
and
they had-
Mackenzie was up there.
they had
I
one
know,
table.
Yeah, they had a big,
Yeah.
yeah, you could do a long table.
Probably get.
Jack's gonna come in shorts, don't worry about Jack.
Yeah. And the good thing is Kyle doesn't have to come. So that's one less we got.
Okay.
Except the rain's gonna hold the umbrella for me.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.